go. Alright, hey everybody, it's Steven from Tostemac, and we're here for another Saturday live stream. It'll probably be a short one, the usual 30 minutes, because afterwards I gotta get some exercising done and get ready for Father's Day tomorrow. Hope you guys have been having a great week so far. Mine's been going pretty good. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, so before we get to, hey Sharon Starkey, before we get to the topic of this live stream, I do want to announce a couple things. One is tomorrow we will not be having a live stream because I got some things planned for Father's Day, and I'm not sure if I could do that and do the Chow Garden live stream at the same time. So I just want to focus on Father's Day, and then we'll get back to the Chow Garden live stream the following Sunday. And then the other thing I want to announce is the next autism video. God, I feel like I've been drinking water nonstop today. The next autism video is actually going to be scheduled for not the 22nd, but rather the 29th. And there are a couple reasons for that. One is it gives me more time to work on the video, you know, with Sunday being Father's Day and all. I want to focus all my attention on that. And the second thing is there are some months where it's like it has like a fifth Saturday instead of just four. So I'd like to take advantage of that whenever I can. So the next autism video is going to be more of a discussion video than anything else. It's going to be about whether you prefer fireworks or the light drones show, because that's been growing in recent years, and I feel like there's some ups and downs for both ends that seems to be worth talking about, especially for, you know, autistic people. Like I like fireworks, but I don't like the loud noises, you know. I like the bright lights and all, and I'm pretty sure there are some other autistic people that feel the same way, you know. So I'm thinking about doing that as the next autism video, since 4th of July would be literally right around the corner. So I figured that would be the best way to go about it. Alright, so that's for a couple hours before my work shift ended. It feels like I had a sore throat for some reason. I just can't put my finger on it. Alright. But enough about that. Let's talk about today's subject, why I love Sonic the Hedgehog. To answer this question, we should probably go back to way back in the beginning. Not necessarily when Sonic the Hedgehog came out in 1991, you know, for the Sega Dreamcast, because I didn't play Sega back then. I was all Nintendo. The way I got introduced to Sonic the Hedgehog was there was a cartoon show called Sonic the Hedgehog, and I think it was released in 1993, if I remember correctly. And I remember it being goofy as all get out and really entertaining to watch. And it was like, you know, who is this blue hedgehog? Why is he so funny, you know? So I got introduced to that, and then, of course, there was the McDonald's Happy Meals that had, like, the little toys with Sonic, Eggman, Knuckles, and all that stuff that had the same cartoon style as, like, you know, the cartoon itself. So that's how I got introduced to, like, the Sonic universe. But when did I get introduced to the Sonic games? That's a rather interesting question, because I think it wasn't until I first moved to Maryland, not to Anne Arundel County, but rather when we first moved to Maryland, it was Prince George's County. And during that time, I had gotten involved with, no, was it Anne Arundel County? No, it was Prince George's County, yeah. Because around that time, I was also introduced to, around that time, I was also competing in the Special Olympics, too. And there was one Special Olympics event, I think it was field hockey, where there was this little crib or gaming area for, you know, the people competing. And they had all these consoles everywhere, stuff to play. And that's when I saw the Blue Hedgehog again, Sonic. And I was like, wait a minute, isn't that So it was I was only introduced to Sonic a couple times, but I never really played a Sonic game around that time because, again, I was on Nintendo. So when I saw Sonic again, I was like, wait a minute, it's a video game? What? Um, that got me really interested in, like, okay, where are these games and where have I been all this time? It wasn't until like many years later. No, not many years later. Maybe a few years later, when I was getting the Nintendo GameCube, I was in this shopping mall. I'm not sure how many of you remember the shopping malls these days. They're probably like ghost towns now, but back in my day, they were like buzzing and busy, all that stuff, like it was the place to go to whenever you weren't at school or you weren't at work. You go to a shopping mall, hang out with people, see what's in the stores. And I was hanging around like, GameStop or EB Games, back when EB Games was still around, right? Back when I was looking at those stores, there was this demo for Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut. And I got to play around with the demo a little bit, and I was like, wow, this is a lot of fun. I really want to play this. So, my first ever experience with, the Sonic games was Sonic Adventure, a 3D Sonic game. And I gotta say, not only did that really get me into the Sonic world even more, like more than the cartoon did, but it kind of spoiled me a little bit, because I'm not sure how many of you remember, but the first Sonic game in 1991 was a side-scrolling game, kind of like Super Mario Bros., except a lot faster. But I grew up with, the 3D games, like Mario 64, Sonic Adventure DX. So when I went to the side scrolls in the original version, I'm like, what is this? What is this? Wait a minute. No, I'm forgetting something. Oh my god, I forgot something. Oh my god. Wait, no. I can't believe I forgot. So my first Sonic game was not Sonic Adventure DX. I have to correct myself. It was actually all the way back in California before I moved. There was this Game Boy Advance game called Sonic Advance 2. That was my first Sonic game. It took me a little bit because, when I mentioned, 2D side scrolls, I was like, wait a minute, what about Sonic Advance 2? So that was my first 2D and one of the first Sonic games I played. And, I was a little frustrated with the side-scrolling part, but, I was still enjoying the Sonic game, I even bought the strategy guide for the game, which is something I usually never do for video games. But, Sonic Advance 2 was the first strategy guide I ever bought. Back when you couldn't just look everything up on your phone and look through a YouTube video that guides you through it, Back when we didn't have those, we actually had to read the books. But I read the books because I wanted to get the 7 Chaos Emeralds, and there was this extra little thing they had in there called the Tiny Chow Garden. And that's how I got introduced to chows, the little babies that look like little water droplets. So that's how I got introduced to, the Sonic games and, the Chow Garden, which we will get to more of later. So that was the first one. Then years later, I got Sonic Adventure DX. That was the first 3D Sonic game, and I was really liking it ever since, Not only was it fun to play, but back when I was going to middle school in Prince George's County, it gave me something to talk about with a couple of friends, which we kind of fell out. Nothing bad happened. We just fell out of touch. But, Sonic was something that me and a few classmates could talk about. Not just the games, but also, some of the fan art and, original made characters and art designs and stuff. There was a lot to talk about in the Sonic world besides the video games. There was the TV series like the original Sonic the Hedgehog. There was a more recent one like Sonic X that came out in the time, which I really enjoyed back when I was a kid, but nowadays I look back like, oh, that was cringe. So, there was so much to talk about and so much to bond with, and it was easy to make friends with that, And it was only a matter of time before I got to play, Sonic Heroes. That was another one for the GameCube. And then finally getting around to Sonic Adventure 2, which is arguably my most favorite Sonic game of all time. Now, you're probably thinking, Steven, why Sonic Adventure 2 in particular? Why Sonic Adventure 2 Battle? Well, that's because, unlike most of the other Sonic games where you just play as the good guys, when Sonic Adventure 2 first came out, it came out with something unique. It gave you the opportunity to play as the bad guys. You got to play as Rouge the Bat, Shadow the Hedgehog, and Dr. Eggman, which was something that was rather unheard of unless it was like a racing game. You never played the villains for like a main Sonic game, So that was one reason I liked to play around with the good guys and the bad guys. But the other thing was the Chow Garden. I mentioned a little bit of it in Sonic Advance 2, the Tiny Chow Garden, but that was kind of like a gradual step to like the Chow Garden we would know in Sonic Adventure 2. And, I remember spending hours, days, weeks, months on that, because like it felt like raising the chows were like taking care of my own children, my own babies, my own little babies in the virtual world. Get your hands off them. So, it was something I grew really attached to, and it was very rare for me to be that attached to like a video game series aside from like Mario and Pokemon and stuff like that. And so it's like, sorry, it's been a long week. So the Sonic Adventure 2, like, it holds a special place in my heart because of the Chow Gardens. I get to raise the little babies, and that's part of the reason why I love doing the Sunday streams of the Chow Garden, because it kind of takes me back to those times where, like, I could take care of, like, these adorable creatures that can grow into different things depending on, like, how you raise them. They show you love and affection if you show it back, and they can do all kinds of things. It's just, there's so many possibilities. Like, even when I'm playing the Chow Garden live streams nowadays, there are still things in the Chow Gardens that I didn't know about back then, but I'm learning now. There's just so much detail that goes into it that I can't help but wonder, if they did bring back the Chow Garden, would they bring back all of it? Or maybe just a part of it, I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical, but I'm getting too sidetracked on Sonic Adventure 2 and the Chow Garden stuff. So, at first, it was, the gameplay and stuff. But later on, it became more about the story. Like, reading about, the adventures Sonic was going through, what happened to Shadow the Hedgehog, and, like, all these crazy things that were going on, like the Deadly Six, the Wisps, and, with the more recent ones, Sonic Frontiers. It was usually the story that would, keep me going forward. Because, like, I remember the first bad Sonic game I played, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Come on, it's been enough years. We know it's bad, okay? It's enjoyable, but it's bad. So it's like, my way of thinking was, as long as the story's really good, I can get through the gameplay. But, yeah, that was before I played Sonic 2006 and Sonic Unleashed, and I was like, okay, what, maybe I could just, look through the playthroughs and the cutscenes to get the story, because I'm more interested in the story than the gameplay. But one of the other more modern Sonic games was Sonic Colors. That was really good. It had amazing gameplay, amazing story, and I just love the dialogue and writing in that, and how snappy remarks that Sonic makes, like, no copyright laws in the universe is gonna stop me. I just bursted out laughing when I first heard Sonic say that line. It was just something out of nowhere. I didn't even imagine him saying stuff like that, Let's see, what else was there? I also, sorry, I'm just trying to think. Just sorting through my memories, like files and documents and stuff. So, Sonic Colors was a lot of fun. Then, Sonic Boom came out. And let me tell you, that was very interesting. Because the thing is, like, they were trying the same tactic that they did with the original Sonic. You know, have a TV series go along with the video games to kind of promote each other and stuff. But I remember the first time Sonic Boom came out, and the character designs were so different, and so many people had issues with it, especially the Knuckles model. Like, in Sonic Boom, Knuckles actually had fingers instead of just the gloves. I cannot tell you how many people were so irate about that. They could not get over it. And, you know, how they did some of the characters, they changed some of the characters was really bad. Like with Shadow in Sonic Boom, like Shadow the Hedgehog in the canon series, you know, the original video game series, he's like this cool edgelord that doesn't need, you know, to prove anything. He's his ultimate life form. He's awesome. But in Sonic Boom, they just made Shadow a bully than anything else. Just a bully, you know, like, he just what proves he's the strongest for revenge for no reason, da-da-da-da-da. It was so bland. Like, the video games of Sonic Boom were awful, but the TV series was actually entertaining. So, it was a very interesting time for, you know, that particular series. So, there was Sonic Boom with mixed results, and I think the next major Sonic thing that came out was the Sonic movies, like the live action Sonic movies. Yes, we know about, you know, the design for Sonic the Hedgehog we have now in the movies. However, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of you that remember the original design. Horrific! Like, even when I first saw it, I was like, oh god, oh god, oh god. Like, it was so bad. Like, it was so, the original design of the live action Sonic was so bad. Like, when I first saw it, like, I wanted to do anything and everything I could to erase that from my mind. And there was this massive petition and massive outburst in social media about change the design, the movie's gonna flop. Who, like, yeah, Jim Carrey's Dr. Eggman, that's awesome, but the Sonic design needs to change. And it was so big that, you know, the creators of the Sonic movie was like, good news, we hear you, the movie's going to be delayed, but we are going to redesign it. And thank God they did, because I'll tell you, if they kept the original design for the Sonic movies, like, I wish I could show you, but I can't because I'm worried the stream will get taken down, you know, copyright stuff. But, like, if they did not change the original design for Sonic the Hedgehog in the live action movies, I guarantee you it would have flopped. Like, nobody wanted to see that. But the fact that the producers of the Sonic movies went out of their way to redesign it to make him look a lot better, you know, it showed how much they cared about the franchise and how much they care about Sonic and the Sonic fan base. And I think it was that change that really made a difference between, you know, success and failure. You know, whether it could have flopped as like the worst Sonic thing in history or be like one of the best Sonic things that was ever created. And thankfully, it was the latter. Like, when the Sonic redesign was announced and it was shown in the trailers, there were so many people that applauded for it, and they went to the movie theater not just to watch the movie, but also to support, to show their gratitude and support the change that the producers made on the Sonic design. And it really goes to show, like, you know, how much the fan base of Sonic, or how much people loved Sonic the Hedgehog so much, to the point where they would go out of their way to band together and say, hey, this design is not okay, this is not our Sonic, please redesign it. And for the producers to actually say, yeah, okay, we can make the changes. Like, the fact that there were so many people that cared so much about this blue little hedgehog is like, it speaks volumes to what this video game series meant for so many people over the years, that it was a precious part of their childhood. And And then, like, the Sonic movie did so well that it got, like, a sequel. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, introducing Tails and Knuckles. And that was also amazing. Probably didn't do as well in the box office as the first one, if I remember correctly. But they were both so amazing. Jim Carrey did a great job. The animators for Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles did an amazing job, And they're just continuing to build on that with the Paramount Plus series Knuckles, which I still need to get around to watching. I just need to make time. And then there's the upcoming third Sonic movie, which we're going to get Christmas Eve. And, of course, we got the announcement of Keanu Reeves being Shadow the Hedgehog, which is going to be interesting, but we'll see what happens. So it's like, in recent years, like, yes, the Sonic franchise has had its dark times, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, Sonic Unleashed, a couple other bad games, like, it had its dark moments, but in recent years, we are seeing a lot of success with Sonic the Hedgehog, with the movies, and there's also the Netflix series Sonic Prime, which is amazing. I highly recommend watching Sonic Prime if you have Netflix and you're a Sonic fan. Go watch it. That's all I'll say about that. So, and then there's also, like, the Twitter takeovers where they do Q&As, and you have these fans asking so many questions to, like, the voice actors who pretend to be the characters. Let's see, there was also the more recent main game, Sonic Frontiers. And I gotta say, like, the gameplay, it's okay. But the story of Sonic Frontiers is, like, the best it's ever been. Like, we see something in Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Eggman that we haven't really seen in many other Sonic games. And that is, character development. We're actually seeing the characters grow. And I don't want to spoil too much. You can probably check out, like, the cutscenes, the playthrough of Sonic Frontiers. But, it's really got me curious as to, like, what they'll do with the next main Sonic game. Like, how are these characters going to change? Are they going to change too much or maybe just a little? Who knows? But there's so much to love about Sonic that, not even I thought about. For me, it was like, a fun adventure with a blue hedgehog and friends taking on Dr. Eggman. And then there's these, hilarious moments that ensue. That's what I usually thought about, with the Sonic games. Fun gameplay, funny moments, and just an overall good adventure. It wasn't until someone had made a comment on one of my YouTube content about asking about why not do a Sonic video, or no, why not do an autism video about why so many autistic people love Sonic. And I'm not going to lie, when I first heard this, I was kind of scratching my head. I was like, wait, what? That's a thing? Like, I enjoyed the Sonic games, and the stories and whatnot, but I never really made a connection between Sonic and, autistic people. It wasn't really something that crossed my mind. But, like, I was looking at Reddit threads, I was looking at articles, and it turns out there was a lot of people that were autistic that were sharing their opinions about why they love Sonic. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this after all. So I wanted to take a look. And I mentioned in the previous live stream, before I went on and on about, how I made the video, originally the plan was about, who Sonic the Hedgehog is and why autistic people love Sonic. That was it. That was all I was planning to do. Just a 5 to 7 minute video about why autistic people love Sonic the Hedgehog. That was it. That was all it was supposed to be. But as I was reading the threads and the articles, people were talking about, I love going through the Sonic stages. They're all bright and colorful. I love the music. There's also, like, the simplicity of the gameplay, nice repetition, and also, like, the designs of the characters. And I'm like, oh no, this is going to be a lot bigger than I thought it was. And it was like, I felt torn as I was doing the research. Like, on the one hand, I was like, wow, there was a lot more to Sonic the Hedgehog than I realized. There was a lot more to love that, I love, but I never really paid too much attention to it. Like, the music I enjoyed listening to, some of the stages, there were a lot of things that I didn't really think about until I did the research, and I was like, wow, they really put a lot of thought into this. No wonder so many autistic people love Sonic the Hedgehog. But on the other hand, as I was reading, I was like, oh God, stop talking, stop typing, stop writing, stop talking, stop giving me more things to think about. It's only more work for me. Because it was like, the more I was reading, the more I realized, oh no, like my original idea is not going to work because I'm going to be missing out on a lot of details, and there's going to be people commenting, hey, you missed this, you missed this, you missed this, you missed that, how can you miss all this? It's like, I knew it was going to happen if I didn't include them in. So it was like, so I had to go back to the drawing board, redo the whole script, add Thomas into it too, to add some funny moments. And it was like, when I got done with the script and like seeing how long the video was going to be after recording, I was like, I am never making an autism video that long ever again unless it's a collab. Unless it's a collab, I am not making a 15-minute autism video ever again. That is way too long. But all things considered, like, even if that video was a lot of work, I have to say that was possibly one of the best autism videos I've ever made, It was like one of those videos where it didn't feel like, okay, I need to get this done right for the audience, make sure it's like the best quality possible. But it's like, since I wasn't worried about making a video that I'm planning to monetize and stuff, it was a video where I had free creative range. I could just make whatever I want, use my imagination to its fullest. And, I came up with a lot of funny ideas. Thomas came up with a lot of funny ideas. There's a lot of references in those videos, which I'm not sure if you guys caught or not. But, like, that is easily going to be one of my most favorite autism videos I've ever made. And as I'm looking at this, like, it is about a week since its initial release, and it's almost got 100 views, which is awesome. So that would make this, like, the first Tostemac video of 2024 that reached over 100 views, which is awesome. And you might be thinking, wait, isn't that a bad thing that the views are kind of low in some of your recent autism videos? Not really, It's just a hit and miss sometimes, like the video I did about, how to help autistic people eat better. That's going good, like 81 views so far. The ones about, like, exercise routines and self-diagnosis, those haven't really viewed that much, but, that can change. But it's like, you could look at all the likes and views and thumbs ups and thumbs downs and subscriptions if you want, but, like, if you don't enjoy what you do, if you don't enjoy, like, the content you're making or the games you're playing and stuff, then, what's the point? It's going to feel like a chore. That's why I eventually stopped doing the Good Doctor discussion a long time back, because I stopped enjoying it and it was becoming a chore. But, like, with these autism videos, like each autism video, I think about, okay, what can I do differently? What can I do to make this video pop? What can I do to make this video stand out? And every now and then there is this video like why autistic people love Sonic the Hedgehog that I can just have this extra fun with. That I can make these jokes, that I can do these like silly animations with the avatars and stuff, do something that can make the audience laugh and make myself laugh too, like in the autism video, like I had one of the Steven avatars transition to like a Sonic spin dash. I was laughing my butt off when I made that. It's like, did I actually make that happen? So it's like, it's good to have projects like that every now and then, to kind of keep you on your toes and, have a little fun with it, because ultimately, like, as long as people are enjoying my content, I'll keep making the content, but ultimately, I have to enjoy it too. I have to enjoy making the content, I have to enjoy the experience of making something fun, making something unique and whatnot, and it's like, that's why I love doing that video, and it's also why I love doing, the Chow Garden live streams, because it brings me back to, those childhood moments when I was, like, playing Sonic Adventure 2 a lot. I was chatting with Sonic with friends, or chatting about Sonic with friends, and then, like, taking care of the chows after work, after all the homework's done. It kind of bring me back to those simplistic times, and it's always amazing, to find that other people love Sonic the Hedgehog, and then other people love, the Chow Gardens just as much as I do, and it's one of the beautiful things about a successful franchise like Sonic the Hedgehog. Not that, it does good with the box office, not just that it makes a lot of money, but in a way, it builds these communities. It brings people together with a common love and a common interest about, like, the Sonic characters, or maybe the music, anything related to Sonic, And those who know me know I'm all about communities. I love when people come together to make a positive difference, or just come together to get to know each other and chat and share about things, And I think that's, like, the strongest thing I can say about what the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise has been accomplishing ever since 1991, It's from what originally started as just a simple side-scrolling game, has now grown into, like, these live-action movies, these successful TV series, these discussions about games that are, like, over 20 years old that are still being talked about to this day, Like, it's not just video games to play, it's also, like, a bonding experience, like, sharing memories, sharing experiences, having some laughs, some good times, and it's like, and building new ones, and seeing what lies beyond the horizon, what lies in the future, not just with, like, the next Sonic game, Sonic and Shadow Generations, but also, like, the next Sonic the Hedgehog movie coming out in December, and many other projects to come, So, it's kind of funny to think about, like, for me, it was just thinking about, like, just a fun game to play and a funny TV series to watch about some colorful characters. But it's like, when I think back to how much, Sonic the Hedgehog as a whole has accomplished over 30 years, it's amazing, to think about, like, how there are so many people, so many autistic people that really love this franchise, and how close they've grown to, this blue hedgehog, this imaginary character, and how it can create a point of conversation for so many other people, and a point of, like, being able to form connections and form friendships with, So, yeah, it's like, I'm really glad I did this, I'm really glad I did the video about Sonic the Hedgehog, because it really made me think about how much it's been a part of my childhood, and also how much it has accomplished over the years, like, not just with me, but so many people the world over, So, alright, I think that should probably do it for the live stream, because I gotta get to exercising. My exercise schedule kind of got disrupted a little bit. Gotta get back on it. So, what do you think? Like, do you enjoy Sonic the Hedgehog? Do you have any particular, like, experiences or memories with Sonic? Or maybe you made some friends because of Sonic the Hedgehog? Let us know in the comment section below. Even after the live stream's over, you can still comment. So yeah, that's gonna pretty much do it. Again, there's not gonna be a live stream tomorrow because it's Father's Day. Take time, enjoy some time with your family. But the following Sunday, we will get back to the Chow Garden live streams. So I hope you can attend those live, because if you can, you have a chance of getting a chow of your own. assuming you haven't got one already. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here, and yeah. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff that makes Tostemac grow. You know the rest. The next autism video, as a reminder, will be on the 29th, not the 22nd. Because, again, it'll give me more time with Dad and the family, but also give me more time to, figure out how to do this next autism video the best way possible, So, as always, I thank you all for your love and support, and hope you have a great weekend. And until the next live stream, see you later.